In the last video, you saw us work with the lower receiver of the Glock 35 to do a trigger job, including the trigger spring and the 2-pound connector, changing that from the standard 6-pound connector. In this particular video, we're going to be working with the upper portion of the Glock receiver, specifically changing the striker spring and the striker safety spring. To do that, we're going to be removing the striker safety detent, which runs inside of this piece of metal. We're going to be removing the ejector, as well as the safety plug, which there's a spring underneath there. To do that, you're going to need a punch, and it's going to take very little time. Actually, it's a very easy project. We want to have the striker in the back position, and if you'll look here, hopefully you can see that there is a collet, a plastic collet around the striker, which extends to the back of the striker assembly here. To get that off, we're going to have to depress that and simultaneously slide the base plate or the back plate off of the weapon. You'll see sometimes, if you look on people's Glocks, there's a lot of marring in this area because they tried to use a screwdriver to take this piece off, not realizing that it is captured by this collet. The method that we're going to use is we're going to take our punch, depress the collet, thereby depressing the spring so that we can slide the striker off. You're going to insert your punch and depress the plastic collet and slide the base plate off. You'll hear a click. At that point you can remove. Keep your thumb over it because the striker is spring loaded and it can shoot across the room. I want to draw your attention quickly here to the striker base plate. You'll see, hopefully, that there is a circular indentation here, depression, which captures this striker collet here in that, holding the striker in place. So we're going to slide that out and we're going to set that aside. This will be the spring that we are going to replace. We need to take out the detent and just set that aside. We don't actually change any of this. This is a factory piece that we don't need to change. We're going to take our punch, putting our finger over the striker safety, and we are going to depress that safety and pop the ejector out. We're going to set that aside. Keeping our thumb over it, we're going to slowly release the detent, or the striker safety, and slide that out. You can safely set the upper receiver to the side. The spring that we're going to change on this is right here, and that's the first thing we're going to do. It's the most simple part. You do need to be careful because you can bend the spring. You're going to take hold of it with your fingers and pull it straight off. It will clip off. Take the very small replacement spring, slide it in, and give it a press down, and it should click into place. Can be a little difficult because of the shorter nature of this. You may need to take your punch and click that in. Be very careful with that. Alright, we've got that in. We're going to set that to the side. On the striker, when you examine it, you'll see that the spring runs the length and it is captured by this collet. And this is a 2-piece collet here. It splits right there. It's the best way that I've ever found to remove this safely without everything exploding all over the place is to take the receiver and adjust the camera here just a little bit. We're going to take the striker assembly, place it in reverse fashion on there, and you can actually leave that up just a little bit. And we're going to grab the spring and pull the spring down. Now these two little collets, they split and they come off, and then you can slowly remove that spring. taking the replacement spring and sliding it over and reversing the process by reinstalling the collets. You need to be careful here because the spring is now under tension and it will shoot them across the room. Found that out the hard way. And slowly replace that. And we've replaced that spring. The process to reassemble is exactly the reverse of how we took it apart. We're going to take the striker safety, slide that in place, the ejection tool, and put that in place. We're going to depress the safety, click that in place, we're going to make sure that our detent is fully engaged. And slide that back in there, press that down, striker assembly in. Alright, now the whole thing is spring loaded, so we're going to take our base plate and get it started in the grooves. We're going to take the back end of our punch and we're going to find a corner on the collet, depress the collet, slide it up until it covers, take the point of the punch, depress the detent for the striker safety, click it back together. The upper receiver is now finished. We're going to reinstall the barrel and the competition captured guide rod that we had installed in a previous video. And the upper receiver is now completely back together. In the next video, we're going to install a Dawson Precision base plate. I hope you'll join us for that video, and I hope you're having a great day. Thanks again. Subscribe, comment, and follow us on Facebook. Thanks, and have a great day.